legendary daredevil, Evel Knievel.
You've been in so many crashes and you've had so many surgeries. How does that affect your swing?
It does, and you see I got plates in each arm. I got bionic arms. I did a motion picture with Lindsay Wagner. I found out the name of her doctor. I went and had her doctor operate on me. I got steel plates in both arms. That's why I could hit it better.
Hi, I'm Ann Liguori, and my guest is Daredevil champion himself, Evel Knievel.
Hi, Ann.
How are you? What a great shirt.
Thank you.
That has your name written all over it. That is an Evel Knievel shirt.
I just bought this yesterday at the Atlanta National Country Club in Atlanta, and I saw two guys out here with it today already. Popular shirt. Good color.
I thought it was only yours.
No.
12 handicap. You love this sport?
Yes, played it all my life. And I wanted to retire to just travel the world and play golf. That's what I love to do. And I do that. I'm on I took a 20-year vacation in 1980, and I think I'm going to extend that a little bit.
What a life, huh? Going from one
yes,
club
it
to
is.
the
I go from,
next.
I played in Clearwater, Florida at Feather Sound and Countryside 3 or 4 days ago, and I played in Atlanta at Rivermont Country Club in the Atlanta National day before yesterday. And here we are at Joe Jemcik's great Cog Hill in Chicago, where they're going to have the Western Open here in just a few days.
It's beautiful here, and this is a public facility. 4 courses.
It is the best public facility in the entire world. It's beautiful.
And Joe is known throughout golf.
Yeah, he sure is. He's the grandpa of them all. He's quite a guy.
Now, he told me that years ago you came here with your,
I had a motorhome.
Motorhome?
And I used to play here and gamble with my buddies here in Chicago, and he put in a 220 hookup right down on the driving range for me so that I could sleep here at the golf course in the motorhome. I had a 60-foot, 70-foot motorhome, and get up and hit practice balls and play every day. We played here 7 days a week.
This is a famous 6-hole, Evel, where they had that competition of the top 18 holes,
Yeah.
and Daly and Kite and Fuzzy Zeller played this par 3.
Yeah, it's 213 yards from the post, and into the wind it's going to play about 235. They'd hit an iron, of course. I'd probably have to hit a 5-wood. And it's a beautiful hole. It's surrounded by sand traps, and they say it's one of the toughest holes in the country. So I don't know whether I can hit it on the green or not. We can find out.
I'm sure you can.
Right in the middle of the green.
That's a nice ball.
That might go in the hole.
Right on it. We'll talk a little bit about how physically you're able to drive a ball, what, about 250? Because
Okay.
you've been in so many crashes and you've had so many surgeries. How does that affect your swing?
It does, and you see I got plates in each arm. I got bionic arms. I did a motion picture with Lindsay Wagner. I found out the name of her doctor. I went and had her doctor operate on me. I got steel plates in both arms. That's why I could hit it better.
And so that means you're the bionic man? You can hit it further?
And my left leg is a little shorter than my right leg. You can see the heel's a little bigger on my shoe here.
So it doesn't affect your motion at all?
Yeah, it helps me get through the left side better. Helps me clear my,
Oh, so it
clear my
helps you?
left. Yeah, it helps me. That's the way I think about it.
That's a good way to look at it.
I only think about 3 things when I hit the golf ball. That's one, after you're lined and you got your grip, is to get behind the ball and stay behind it. Take the club back slow and pause, and swing down through to the target. That's all I think about. If you think about those 3 things, it helps initiate everything else. If you take it back slow and stop, it helps you clear your left hip right out of the way.
How'd you get into the stunts, the daredevil thing?
Well, I rode a motorcycle when I was very young, and my dad got me my first motorcycle, a little Harley Davidson, and I rode a lot when I was very, very young. I started about the age of 13 or 14. I thought that the motorcycle fraternity itself would support a daredevil show like Joey Chitwood and his Auto Daredevils. So I had a whole 2-hour show I put together in California. But when I would get hurt, since my jump was the finale, then the whole show would have to stop. And all of the people would be out of work, and I had about 30 people working on it. But as time went on, as I jumped and performed, and I kept getting back up after I was hurt, the jump and the performance got so much notoriety that pretty soon I didn't need the rest of the show. I could just go to a racetrack anywhere in the United States at that time, and then it became anywhere in the world, and say, look, I'm here, I'll jump on Sunday, I'll help you with your publicity, and I want half of your gate.
300 jumps later, almost 300. You don't have an exact count yet.
I don't
You can't
know
remember how many there are. There have been so many.
I paid quite a price for the so-called success that I've achieved. I broke about 35 or 36 bones. I was operated on 14 times as to what they call a major open reduction operation. I spent 3.5 years total in hospitals. I broke my back 4 times. I was rendered unconscious many times.
I know after the Caesar's Palace jump.
Yes, I was unconscious for 29 or 30 days. And if I hadn't worn a helmet, I'd have absolutely been dead. Anybody that rides a motorcycle or a bicycle without a helmet on is making a horrible mistake.
But what motivated you to put that jump together?
I made a deal with them for 3 jumps. However, I only got to attempt the one because I was nearly killed. I would just go in and make a deal with them. I went right to the president of Caesar's Palace, Jay Sarno, and I just told him, I said, I can draw you 100,000 people. I'll bring the biggest crowd there ever is here. I said, nobody ever heard of Caesar's Palace. You just built the place. If you want it put on the map, let me jump it. He said, you know, I think you got a great idea. And I forget how much it was they paid me then to do it, but I missed it, and another fellow missed it. The only one that's ever done it successfully is my son Robbie. He's the only one that ever did it. So that led on to many more jumps, and that was a free show for people. Usually I would draw 5,000 or 10,000 people to see a jump, or maybe 20 at the most. When I went to London, England, and jumped in 1975 in Wembley Stadium, which is the largest stadium in the world, I drew 108,000 people. I hold the attendance record.
Here he goes, and he will go.
Ladies and gentlemen of this wonderful country, I've got to tell you that you are the last people in the world who will ever see me jump, because I will never, ever, ever jump again. I'm through.
Coming up.
I made a living facing the greatest competitor in life, and that's death. I'm certainly not afraid of any golfers to gamble with, and I don't have to hustle them. I like a fair game.
We're back with Evel Knievel, and many of you know that he is an amazing daredevil. In fact, you got amazing ratings on your jumps with ABC Network, televising many of them, but a lot of people don't realize that you're the golf hustler as well.
No, I don't hustle golf.
Come on.
I don't.
You don't?
I've been accused of it, but I just go to different towns throughout the United States and Canada and play, and in Australia. England, and everybody knows that I play, and they know I like to gamble, and my handicap is 12. I tell them it should be 14 because I jumped 14 buses in Cincinnati at Kings Island. But I play in a they call it a league in Florida in the wintertime at 6 or 7 different golf courses. And the best golf courses that are there. At Countryside, my quota is 24. I'm a 12 handicap. At Feather Sound, my quota is 24. I'm a 12 handicap.
All right, so you play
So
all the
they all know I'm a
time.
12 handicap, and that's what it is. And if they want to play against me, I investigate their handicap because they are the hustlers. They would just love to beat me.
They're
I'm
the
not the
hustlers.
hustler.
You're not the hustler.
I'm there to be shot at. I come into town at noon and play them for whatever the hell they want to play for. And they have to establish their handicap. They can't lie. They can't tell me they play with their wife on Saturday and Sunday, and that's how they get their handicap down.
Now, how do you know they're not lying?
Because their friends tell me.
You scout them out.
And the pro tells me. Sometimes I watch them for a week. At every town you go into, in the United States especially, there's always one club in the town, being in a major city, where there are a group of guys that get together and gamble. And they don't gamble for hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they gamble for, say each guy bets 500 or 1,000 a day. So if you play with 8 or 10 of them, you can win $8,000 or $10,000 a day. I played Bobby Riggs for a lot of money, California. I think I played Bobby for 10,000 one day.
He's a good golfer. He was a good golfer.
Yeah, he beat me one time in his whole life. I played him 100 times. So he didn't beat me. In fact, he told me one day, he said, you know, I don't need you. He said, I got so many guys that want to play with me, I don't need you, we're done. So we
So that ended the bitter
parted company.
rivalry.
I don't know, I think it's, I'll tell you what makes betting on the golf course tough. There are times when I've gone to the golf course where I never had 10,000 in cash. There are times when I played for 5,000, I only had 2,000. Because of who I am, I didn't want to lose and have to say, look, I'll pay you tomorrow. It always bothered me. I found that put more pressure on me than anything. It made me lose. Put too much pressure on me.
When you'd go without the amount
When
of
I'd go
money.
without the money and know that I had a fair game, but that I had to win it to pay it. It puts undue pressure on you. So I just decided several years ago, I'm never going to do that. I'm not going to go to where if I can't play and I can't pay and I can't just bet enough to have a smile on my face and have a good time, what's the use of going out there and punishing yourself? There's more to life than that. You want to go out, if you're a dollar player, you know, I don't hold not gambling against guys that don't want to gamble. Gambling to some fellas makes them feel uncomfortable. They love to play golf, and if they play for anything over $5, they almost choke to death on the golf course. They just can't do it. It's the makeup of that person. So it doesn't make them a bad person because they don't want to go out and gamble against me. However, at the same time, I don't like to go out and play with guys that are with 2 or 3 of us that are gambling and think that they are entitled to come along and play with me and then go back to the clubhouse and tell somebody that they beat me when they didn't bet a damn dime. I don't need them. Let them go play in their own group where they belong.
But
they belong in a different patch of flowers.
Say that. They live to say that they beat Evel Knievel on the course.
If they do, they're going to have to pay for it if they beat me.
So you have 10,000 in your pocket right now?
I've got a lot of cash. Not on me, but I can get some in about 2 seconds.
Let's do it right
just
now.
go to
Come
the
on,
parking
you and me,
lot.
let's go. Come on, 10,000, I hit the green.
I'll give you a shot at it.
What's the largest sum you've won?
One game, 100,000. Actually, I only put up 50 of it. I went to Myrtle Beach and played a guy at Bay Tree Country Club some years ago. His name was Tyson Leonard. He's a very fine guy and a great gambler, and we had a heck of a match. I eagled the first hole and beat him 1 down for 18 holes. And it was a tough match. I won 100,000, but the mayor and the judge and another guy bet 50,000 on me, though. Because Tyson had
You
beat
got the
them out of
mayor
50.
involved with this.
Well, when we go to play, when I go to play in the different cities, we usually have quite a group that follows us and bets on one guy or the other.
Now, Marty was your best friend, one of the greatest hustlers
Marty
in golf.
Stanovich, yeah, the fat man. He's deceased now, God bless him, but he was, he kind of taught me really how to play golf and how to hit different shots and
How to gamble.
what the gamblers knew and so on and so forth and how to make bets. And he was known, he had a nickname called the Fat Man, and he was really, I admired him and respected him very much, and a lot of fellows did. All the pros know him, all the great pros know Stanovich. He'd go to the first tee and he wouldn't make any bones about how good he could play, and he'd say, "Where's your best player? Bring him to the tee. I want to play him for 10,000." In fact, he played here in Chicago at a golf course called Tam-o-Shanter for years. And he played for some big, big money in the old days. 100,000 a day was nothing to them.
What was some of the secrets he told you?
Well, there are a lot of things. You have to watch cheats when you go to play. I try not to associate with cheats. I hate anyone that cheats on the golf course. I hate them.
What do you do when
I've never had
somebody's
really a
cheating?
killer instinct in me to beat a guy. If I play a guy that's got a wife and some kids, it's hard for me to beat him. I just don't have it. But if I play a guy that I know is a drug dealer, for instance, or a thief, I just love to beat the hell out of them.
Why would you associate yourself with those people?
That's the only game in town. That's just the way it is. You don't find a guy that's a minister out there wanting to bet you 10,000 on a golf course.
Out of mayor.
You have to get into the middle of it, and you have to find the hustlers, and you have to find the guys that think they can play, and you have to find the wise guys.
So there's such grungy characters, though. And
Some of them. You know, some of them wear ties and suits, and they're thieves. You catch them kicking their ball, catch them throwing
what
up
do you do
marijuana.
when somebody kicks their ball?
Well,
When
if you think you
witness
can
it?
beat them, you just let them do it anyway. But if you think you can't, you might be down, you just say,
Yeah.
"Hey, pal, you forfeit the hole." It's over with. And I love to do that.
What if they don't listen?
I've whacked a lot of guys in the ass end with a 5-iron. I caught cheating. Don't think I haven't. They have all kinds of
It's a
little
tough
tricks they pull.
crowd.
Some of them will put Vaseline on their golf cart and rub it on the face of their golf club so that the ball won't hook or slice.
What do you do in that case?
Just let them do it
But you see it
until you
being
lose a
done.
hole to them, then tell them they're disqualified. And, you know, you can do anything you're big enough to do in this country, I guess. You just have to play it the way you think it should be played.
But
If
you
got
must
them,
run into such shady characters. I mean, if they're cheating,
but
and
some
there's
you don't.
a lot of money at
but
stake,
you'd be
what do
surprised.
you...
I have played with guys that are lawyers especially, CPAs, car salesmen,
That
barn
cheat?
owners. They're cheaters. I played with a guy out in Vegas that was one of the most respected men in town. He'd put his ball down and throw his penny 10 or 12 feet closer to the hole. He was just a filthy cheat, yet he was the CEO at one of the casinos. He didn't have the guts of nothing.
Have you ever lost to somebody like that? To a cheater?
Not let him got away from it. No. I played a lot of guys.
How do you settle things after something like that?
Well, there was one group I took a 357 Magnum after on the Las Vegas golf course one day.
Get out of here.
Sheriff Ralph Lamb came on the golf course with 2 cop cars, and he said, "Evel, they are not worth shooting. Don't go to the penitentiary because you shot 4 filthy cheats." He said, "We know they're cheats."
How much money did they take from you?
Oh, probably $20,000 or $25,000.
And you're going to kill him?
Well, I was mad enough to shoot him, I'll tell you. In fact, I played just the other day with an assistant pro and some friends of mine, and the pro didn't make a bet with anybody. Yet on the greens, he'd putt, and wherever he was, he'd putt in the line so that another guy that was playing me for some money that was a friend of his could see when he putted where the line was.
Right.
And I finally got fed up with it, so he did it once too often. I just went over and knocked his club out of his hand and knocked the ball away, and I said, "Your putt's good, just pick it up and get the hell out of here."
What did he say?
He picked it up and got the hell out of there.
Yeah. You can't take much baloney from anybody.
I don't think there's anybody in the world, after what I've been taught in the last 20-some years, especially by Stanovich, and a guy named Jack Swank out in California, who's a very good gambler, very smart, intelligent individual. I don't think there's anybody that plays golf legitimately or as a hustler that can say or do anything on the golf course that I don't know about. Nobody. I don't think they know one single thing.
Coming up,
I guess you've been almost through death and back, so anything else, by comparison, is really mild, I would think.
I don't think I'd choke over a 12-foot putt. I might, though. There's enough money on it.
Evel, you've risked your life so many times as a daredevil. What possibly could give you such a high on the golf course as some of those jumps?
Well, they say we all have 2 sides to us as human beings. I think it's the serenity I find out here. I love it. There are many times I'll go to the golf course wherever I'm at and go and ask the pro what time he's going to close the practice tee. And he'll say, "You can hit balls as long as you want. You can call half the golf courses I've played at." And he'll say, "That guy stands out there and hit balls till midnight. I really have gone through quite a change of life since I quit performing. And this has been a wonderful thing for me. I love golf. Sometimes when I look at these golf courses, especially like this one here in Chicago, Cog Hill, I say to myself, I just wish I could live another 1,000 years so I could enjoy this.
Play every course in the world.
Yeah, life's too short.
Now, you're also a writer, and in fact, on your website, on the internet, you have a poem that says, "Why?"
Mm-hmm.
And one of the lines reads, "For I know that tomorrow in some other place I'll have that fear again to face." What fear are you talking about?
That was when I was jumping.
The fear of dying?
Fear of dying, yes.
But why do you put yourself through that?
That's something that made me exist. I loved it. I just loved the challenge, that's all.
The challenge.
Yes.
And when you wake up every morning,
Now I just...
what do you think about
I
it?
live a different way of life. Then I love the challenge, and I made millions and millions and millions of dollars. I just loved to spend it as fast as I could get it. I bought racehorses. I bought yachts 2 at a time. 2 at a time. I didn't care whether they were $1 million or $2 million apiece. A ship that cost me $3 or $4 million. Learjets, 2 at a time. Homes, 1 in Miami, 1 in Montana, 2 at a time. Because I thought I was going to die. And money to me meant nothing because I felt that my existence here on Earth maybe wouldn't be too long.
Because of the jumping?
Because of the jumping, yes. I was hurt so bad so many times and came so close so many times that I was not like your average guy who gets a kick out of saying, I have $10 million in stock or I have $10 million in CDs. To me, they were fools. Now, I still love to spend money that I earn, if I can save any after taxes. But I'm a little more conservative now than I was then.
What happened to all the money that you spent with the yachts and the homes? Did
Well,
you sell all those?
yeah, I sold the yachts and the ships. I really got hit hard with the jets and the ships and the yachts when Nixon, when that big energy crisis hit us and he raised the price of fuel so much in gasoline. I mean, to fill up my ship must have cost $100,000.
And speaking of Nixon, the Snake River Canyon jump was on the same day that Ford pardoned Nixon.
That's right.
And you made all the headlines.
Mr. Ford told me, he said, you know, he said, I said, he told me, he said, you know, there's very seldom a big decision made in the White House on a Sunday. And he said, I waited until that day that you jumped the Snake River Canyon so that I could pardon Richard Nixon. I knew you'd get all the publicity, and there'd be very little steam on me.
How long have you been limping like that?
Oh, boy, since I was hurt at Caesar. I was going to be operated on in Gainesville. I was on a green at a golf course called East Bay. And I got so upset because of the pain on the 11th green, I'll never forget it, at this East Bay golf course. I ran down the hill and I stomped my leg as hard as I could in this dirt and this grass going to the cart path to get my cart. I mean, I just abused myself. I was just in tears because of the pain. I had trouble getting through the ball. I couldn't walk on the green. I couldn't walk up to the green. And all of a sudden, something snapped in my hip area, in my pelvis area. And I'd been operated on here 5 times where they put a big steel plate in this femur. Femur's the biggest bone in your body. And I'll be darned if that pain did not go away. I went to the hospital and they x-rayed it. And what I had done was crush myself, the gathering of the dead bone that they were going to try and get rid of with the laser.
I understand there is somebody buried under a putting green.
That's right, George Lowe, America's Guest. They did a story on him in one of the golf magazines not too long ago, said he never paid for anything. And I knew him very well. He didn't, and he was a tough gambler, I'll tell you. But he had a great reputation of going to country clubs and going to hotels and having breakfast and signing all the checks and leaving his hotel bill unpaid and going to people's houses and mooching off of them. I don't think, you know, Joe Jumsick that owns Cog Hill is a wonderful guy, and he knew George, and they buried him right here on the putting green. He made some wonderful friends while I've traveled, and I have put the ashes of 3 of them on different golf courses, public courses, and country clubs to put their ashes on in the morning with their families. Every time I go by, I think of them.
Would you rather be known as Evel Knievel the golfer than Evel Knievel the daredevil?
No, I'm very happy and very proud about what I've done. If I had it to do all over again, there's some things I wouldn't do. I think we all have regrets, but I'm happy with my life. I know that I've made a difference in some people's lives. sometimes I get young kids that come up to me, they're the finest young-looking gentlemen in the world, and they say to me, Evel, I was 15 or 16 when you jumped the canyon, and I remember what you said about not taking narcotics and trying to take care of yourself, and I just want to tell you that I think the world of you, and you helped change my life, and I want to shake your hand and say hello and get an autograph from you. That's the most wonderful thing in the world that I can receive from what I did. They can't take away from you what you've done, ever.